So, I got this challenge I want to do. I don't know if it's a challenge, whatever you want to call it. Just another project that I want to do, social experiment, to help people out, to continue with the veteran suicide prevention that I do, suicide prevention in general. I work in the veteran community with the nonprofit stuff that I do, just on my own. Not actually working with nonprofits. I do work with the Marine Corps League. I used to work with another organization. Now I kind of have my own little event that I host through the Marine Corps League that was essentially a part of an older organization or younger organization, whatever you want to call it. But one of my friends sent me this slideshow, reel, TikTok, a story of a man, a golden retriever, and an older veteran. And it's I want to read it out loud, and then I want to present an option for anybody who wants to continue on with this, maybe have a little bit of purpose, extra purpose, just something to do, like I said, like a challenge. But again, like I said, not necessarily a challenge. It's just an option to help you get through your day, get through life, whatever, day by day. It's just something to continue to do with me, to do on your own. Just a choice, basically. But here, I'm gonna read it to you. So I apologize if I'm not staring at the camera the whole way. So it starts out like this. Last Tuesday at exactly 7 p.m., I decided to check out of life. My apartment was spotless, my debts were calculated, and the only loose end was Barnaby, my 12-year-old golden retriever, and the grumpy veteran next door who hadn't said a word to me in 3 years. And it's also like perception and how you see everything, because you never know. You wouldn't have known I was drowning if you looked at my social media. I'm 29, I'm a digital nomad, working 3 freelance gigs just to pay rent on a shoebox apartment that smells like damp drywall. On the screen, I'm living the dream. In reality, I'm exhausted. It's not the kind of tired a good night's sleep can fix. It's a deep, bone-weary exhaustion from running a race where the finish line just keeps moving. The world feels so loud lately, doesn't it? Everyone is screaming at each other. The news is a constant feed of doom, inflation, division, anger. I feel like a ghost in my own life, scrolling through photos of friends getting married or buying houses while I was deciding which meal to skip so I could afford gas. I was isolated, surrounded by millions of digital voices, but hearing absolutely no one. That Tuesday, the silence in my head finally got too loud. I didn't want a scene. I just wanted the noise to stop. I packed a small bag, not for me, but for Barnaby. I couldn't leave him alone in this apartment. I grabbed his heavy bag of kibble, his favorite chewed-up tennis ball, and his leash. I walked down the hall to apartment B1, Mr. Miller's place. Mr. Miller's a relic. He's somewhat in his late 70s, but built like a brick wall that's beginning to crumble. He spends his evenings sitting on a folding chair on his porch, staring at the street, a generic can of domestic lager in his hand. He doesn't look at his phone. He just watches the world. He just watches the world turn. In 3 years, our interactions were limited to me nodding and him grunting. I knocked on the door frame. The porch light buzz attracting I knocked on the door frame. The porch light buzzed, attracting moths. Yes, his voice sounded like gravel crunching under the tires. Mr. Miller, I tried to keep my voice steady. Sorry to bother you. I have to go on a trip. A last-minute work thing. California. It came up out of nowhere. The lie tasted like ash in my mouth. They don't allow dogs at this corporate housing. I was wondering, I know it's a huge ask, but could you watch Barnaby just for tonight? The shelter opens up at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'll leave a note for them to come get him. He's a good boy. He sleeps most of the day. I held out the leash. My hand was trembling. Mr. Miller didn't take the leash. He took a long, slow sip of his beer, his eyes fixed on Barnaby. Barnaby was being the traitor. He is. Wagged his tail and rested his graying muzzle on the old man's knee. California? Mr. Miller said. He didn't ask a question. Yes, sir. Big opportunity. Bull, Miller said. I froze. Excuse me? I said bull. He set the beard down on the railing. He turned those steel gray eyes on me. They were sharp, intelligent, and terrifying. Terrifyingly clear. You ain't going to California, son. You're wearing the same sweatpants you've worn for 3 days. Your eyes are red. And my wife, she had that same look. The look of someone who's done fighting. Mr. Miller went inside and came back with another cold beer. He cracked it open and handed it to me. Drink. It's cheap swill, but it's cold. We sat in silence for 10 minutes. The only sound was a distant hum of traffic and Barnaby panting softly at our feet. You know what the problem is with you kids? Miller asked, breaking the silence. He didn't say it with malice like the pundits on TV. He said it with a strange kind of sadness. We eat too much avocado toast, I shot back, a weak attempt at a defense. Miller chuckled, a dry, raspy sound. No, the problem is you think you're alone. You got the whole world in your pocket, he pointed out. Pointed to my phone. But you don't know the name of the guy who lives 10 feet from your head. He leaned back, looking up at the smoggy sky, where a few stars fought to be seen. Back in the day, and I know you hate hearing this, but back in the day... But listen... We didn't have much. My dad worked at the plant, Mom stayed home. We were broke half the time, but if my dad's truck broke down, the neighbor Jerry was over with his toolbox before the engine got cold. If someone got sick, there was a casserole on the porch by sunset. We fought, sure. We disagreed on politics, we yelled, but we showed up. He looked at me. We've traded community for convenience, son, and it's a bad trade. You're sitting there thinking you're a burden, that if you just disappear, the ledger balances out zero sum. I gripped the cold can, fighting the tears that were just stinging my eyes. I'm just tired, Mr. Miller. I'm so tired of trying to keep up. I know, he said softly. He reached down and scratched Barnaby behind the ears. I lost my Martha 5 years ago. Since then, this porch is the only thing I got. Some days the silence in that apartment is so heavy I think it's going to crush my chest. I sit out here hoping someone will just stop, just to say hello, just to prove that I'm still here. He looked at me, and I saw it. Beneath the tough veteran exterior, he was just as lonely as I was. We were two guys from two different universes, suffering the same modern disease. The dog does, Miller said. Look at him. Barnaby was pressed against my leg, whining softly. He wasn't looking at the treat in Miller's hand. He was looking at me. You leave tonight? That dog waits by the door for a week. He don't understand California. He just understands that his pack left him. Miller took a swig of beer. And me? I gotta be the one to call the shelter. I gotta be the one to watch them take him away. That's a hell of a thing to do to a neighbor. The guilt hit me harder than sadness. I can't keep doing this, I whispered. I don't have it in me. You don't have to do it all at once, Miller said. You just gotta do tomorrow. He stood up. his knees popping audibly. Tell you what, I can't walk good anymore. My hip is shot, but the dog needs walking. You keep the dog, but every morning at 7 a.m., you bring him here. We drink a coffee on the porch. I'll watch him while you go to work or look for work or whatever it is you do on that computer. When you come back, we'll have a beer, and you tell me one thing that happened in the world that isn't bad news. I looked at him. It wasn't a solution to my debt. It didn't fix the economy. But it was a tether, a thin, sturdy rope across the abyss. 7 a.m., I asked? 7 a.m. sharp. If you're late, I'm banging on your door. I'm an old man. I wake up early and I get cranky. He held out a hand. It was rough, calloused, and stained with engine grease. I took it. His grip was iron. Go home, Jason. Unpack your bag. Feed the dog. I walked back to my apartment. I didn't fix my life that night. I didn't suddenly find a pot of gold. But I unpacked the kibble. I put the leash back on the hook. I set my alarm for 6:45. The next morning I was there. We didn't say much. We just drank black coffee while the neighborhood woke up. But for the first time in a long time, for the first time in years, the morning didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a start. Anyone reading this who feels like they're shouting in a void, who feels like the world has moved on without them, you are not a burden. The isolation you feel is a lie, sold to you by a system that wants you to disconnect. We are not meant to do this alone. Look up from the screen, knock on a door, sit on a porch. The courage isn't in fighting the whole war by yourself. The courage is in turning to the person next to you and saying, I'm not okay. We can just sit for a minute. Hold on. The world was a mess, but it's still better with you in it. See you at 7 a.m. Alright, so maybe this video is going to be a little bit longer than I thought. But the mission, the goal, is to see everybody at 7 a.m. I want to see you tomorrow morning. Alright? So, every day I'm going to make it my mission to wake up, make a coffee, sip on it for a couple of minutes. I put 5 minutes, but we'll probably drop it down to a 2-minute or 3-minute video. It's just going to be there's no words in it. We don't have to talk. If I feel like talking that morning, I might say something to the camera. But just sit with me, have a coffee. Talk to yourself, ponder your thoughts. Every day, all right? I hate getting up early. I really do. But I think if I put a video out like this every day, some of y'all will sit with me. And I don't know. Put a picture underneath the comments, the videos, to say you're here with me. So that I know you're alive. That's it. This is my check-in to you guys. Maybe it'll help somebody, right? We can't. I know for you can't save everybody. All right. Been through it all. It's impossible. But I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop doing cigar nights. I'm not gonna stop doing the hike. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna give up. People move on. Organizations change. They start out in one aspect and move to another, and people get left behind. People get forgotten. Some people feel like they were forgotten when they weren't. Some people are pushed away because the organization changes, because people change, because people grow, and it's no fault of the organization. It's no fault of the people that have grown out of that area. But, sometimes, oh, what is, she says it in Barbie. She says a mother will stay in one place so that her children, her daughters, will know how far they've gone, right? Well, sometimes I believe it's better for organizations or certain people, certain things, to stay in one place, so that way the people who have graduated can look back and say, "Man, that's where I started. I've really come a long way." Now, some people will use it with malice and say, "Dang, man, that guy was there when I started, and he's still there. He hasn't grown at all." But that's not the case. Some of us have grown. Some of us are growing. Some of us just choose to stay back because there's always going to be a new group. There's always going to be a new round. There's always going to... Veterans are getting made every day. People are growing up every day. And they need the help too. And if you turn your back and say, "Oh, I can't be in that. I'm not in that lifestyle anymore." If you can't be in the lifestyle anymore, cool. Like, I get it. You've grown up. You don't drink anymore. You don't party anymore. You're done with it. You have your friends, your other friends, new family, people you don't want to disappoint, things you don't want to do with your life anymore. I get it. That's totally fine. That's perfect. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you graduate and grow. But, just because you've grown out of it doesn't mean that everybody has to leave that life behind, because there's always going to be somebody else that's coming up who needs help getting out of that life, or who needs a crew. So my goal is to be that stepping stone to continue to help people in that specific niche genre or area of life that they need help with. So yeah, it's a different role to play. It's a different aspect. It's a different life to live than some people would see fit. And I've gotten my fair share of people talking to me and saying that I can do better. But I think this is my better. It's not necessarily what everybody thinks should be, but your version of better and my version of better are different. And at the end of the day, if I can help the people coming out that always need the help, since I've already been in here forever, then that's where I'm most valuable at. That's where I'm most valued at. It's weird. You won't get it unless you're in the position. But it's necessary, man. I've seen too many people graduate from this role and then forget where they came from, right? Everybody, they make it to the top and they forget the people at the bottom. They forget the people that they stepped on to help, and not stepped on in a bad way, the people that they used as stepping stones, that were those stepping stones to help them get to a better place in life. And I don't want the stepping stones to ever be forgot, and I don't want I don't want to be one of those people who go to the top and they forget that, what, I did start there. I did start as a nothing. I did start nowhere. And now I'm here, right? So take it for what it's worth. But thank you guys for listening. See you tomorrow. I'll see you today. I got to get this car fixed. But yeah, we'll keep you updated all day. Thank you.